Hey friends, my name's Skylent. Welcome to my channel, Skylent Games, and this is going to be a top 10 list talking about the most exciting, most hyped, at least in my personal opinion, upcoming multiplayer games. So this is going to be the multiplayer version of this top 10. I'll make another one for single-player AAA games, of course, but this is going to be talking about the multiplayer games that are coming out that just look too good, man. They just look amazing, and I will be playing all of these, maybe even extensively streaming, who knows, but I know, there's a lot of tough choices, and some of them are coming out a little bit too soon, so I'm not mentioning them, like Battlefield's already in open beta, so yeah, I'm hyped for Battlefield, but I'm not going to talk about it. These games are just kind of in the distance, and yeah, some of them are playable in early access, but a lot of them really out of reach for most of us. However, they look amazing, they speak to me personally, and if you know me, and if you're like me, then I think you're going to enjoy these games as well, and I think you'll see where I'm coming from. So let's get right into the list. Now, the first game I want to talk about is a game called For Honor. This game comes out February 14th, 2017 on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. For Honor is a melee multiplayer team-based combat game thing. It's kind of weird. It's a new emerging genre, and we're seeing a couple of games come out in this sort of vein, but it is a melee combat game. It's a melee game, and you focus with melee combat, different weapons, swords, stuff like that. But one really unique thing about For Honor is that it focuses on kind of realistic, down-to-earth, low fantasy combat, so it's not going to be as dancey or as floaty as, I guess, something like Chivalry, and obviously it's not going to have magic and stuff, but at the same time, it still has a fantasy element because you're kind of like playing as, like, there's Viking faction, there's like a samurai faction, and it's just kind of crazy like that, but at the same time, still down to earth. The combat is going to be very physical, very visceral, and the game, just looking at it, looks amazingly polished, but we'll have to actually see when we get into the gameplay, the game modes. Apparently there's a single player mode, and really what I'm excited about, I want to see what this genre has in store for me in terms of competition. Let's talk about Gigantic. Now, I know Gigantic has been almost in like a development hell. It's kind of taken a while, but whenever it was announced, I was so hyped for it, and I still actually am. I know this game and Overwatch were the two games that I was really looking forward to, and I've been playing Overwatch like non-stop. I'm extremely competitive in that game, and I want to be that way with Gigantic, if they could just release it now. Basically, Gigantic is kind of a merger between, or like an in-between, of MOBA and hero shooter. So it's a very action-packed shooter, and I think it definitely parallels Paragon, except like squared. It's overall basically what Paragon wishes it could be, and it feels amazing. It's extremely cartoon, yeah, but I think it looks really crisp. It's very original. Its characters are awesome. The kits are really extreme, and I think the gameplay is just really cool, and it just has a very light MOBA elements, and it really focuses on its shooting mechanics, and it feels so good. So yes, I've played this game extensively. However, since they dropped their publisher with Microsoft and they got this new partnership with Perfect World, we'll have to see where the game goes, how it's developed from here on out, but I'm still excited for it, as long as it comes out eventually. Next up, I want to talk about a game called Fortnite. This is by Epic Games, running in the Unreal Engine 4, and this is supposed to be sort of like the poster child for like what Unreal can do for cartoony games. And really, before now, Unreal games have been gritty, very hardcore, very metallic looking. Unreal Tournaments, Gears of Wars. So yeah, having Fortnite in their portfolio really shows off and shines the Unreal Engine 4 and its versatility and what it can do, especially since it's completely free. You don't even need to know coding to actually utilize the engine. I'm just saying. Basically, I'm kind of just talking about the Unreal Engine because, yeah, I can't really talk about Fortnite because there's an NDA, tragically. But you can see the trailer, you can see why I would be excited for this game. It looks really cool, and the concept, I don't know, it kind of speaks to me. It's basically like hardcore Minecraft in a way, like you're set in sort of like the city, and at night, monsters come and invade, so you have to scavenge the city, get materials, and kind of build up your base, and it's kind of like a co-op wave horde survival thing, and yeah, it's basically all I can say, but I think that's all I need to say as well. Just look at the footage, it looks fun, I want to play it. Now, here's a genre that you don't really hear too much about, but I think we're going to get a lot more coming. Maybe they're going to be light RTS, maybe they're going to be grand strategy RTS. There's going to be different new emerging genres within the RTS, whole genre, but I really want to get into a proper competitive RTS, and maybe Warhammer 40k Dawn of War 3 will be that game. I am definitely looking forward to a lot of other RTSs, look forward to that top 10 whenever I do make that, but this is the game that I think is going to be kind of like the flagship game for, kind of like the StarCraftian genre of RTS. I don't know if the game is actually going to be a proper StarCraft competitor. I really don't. I have no idea about the RTS genre. All I know is that I want to get into the RTS genre. I also want to get into Warhammer 40k, or just Warhammer Imperial, just anything in that direction. I want to learn about it because people are fanatical about it. So I want to do that. And this is Dawn of War 3. I'm expecting this to be a pretty good game, and it's something that I want to get into. So that's basically it. Even if this game had a really crappy trailer, which it doesn't, it's got a really awesome trailer and some gameplay footage that looks pretty cool. Even if it did, though, I'd probably still be hyped for it because I just want to try it. I just want to explore. And sometimes you got to take a chance. I think I'm going to take a chance with this game. The next game we'll talk about is a game called Crowfall. You've probably heard a little bit about this game. It's supposed to be a PvP sort of like throne simulation kind of game. It seems like a lot of concepts are kind of based on the ideas of Game of Thrones. It's very cartoon. It has voxel destruction. It's got like this sort of MOBA-ish sort of like character class system thing going on. And at the same time, it's got this really weird idea of like campaigns where there's sort of like these temporary instances which are really more like giant worlds or giant islands or like true campaigns. And you go and you fight PvE, but there's a PvP element because they're competing against the other PvE element. And I think every time I try to talk about this game, I kind of stumble across my words because it's just got a lot of weird stuff and I don't really know how to properly identify this game because it's all those weird ideas that kind of mesh together to make Crowfall so exciting for me. So basically, it's like this really cool game, man. Can't wait to try it. Halfway through the list, we have a game called LawBreakers. I have played LawBreakers. I had a lot of fun with LawBreakers. In fact, just a little bit ago, if you go check my history on YouTube, you can see that I covered all the individual classes of LawBreakers up to what they had in the beta, and I had a lot of fun with that. I think the game is very good as a competitor to Overwatch because it's very physics-based. Everything about the game feels unstuck compared to Overwatch. In Overwatch, everything is a kind of stagnant in a way. Abilities have set distances, set physics. In this game, in LawBreakers, that's basically the whole concept, is gravity is wonky and silly, and different abilities affect gravity, and you're flying all over the place, and you're just doing all this crazy shit. It's amazing. It's amazing how the game just feels, and it looks pretty good. I know the art style isn't for everybody, but then again, same thing for Overwatch. So as a hero shooter, I think this is going to be the one true actual game that competes with Overwatch because it's not actually competing with Overwatch. It's actually a different game, and I appreciate that. Worlds Adrift. Now, this game kind of slipped under the radar for me. I saw it, I forgot it existed, and then just kind of like remembered it, but then forgot it again in time for my PvP upcoming MMO list. So yeah, I kind of wish I put it on that list because Worlds Adrift looks super duper cool. I love the concept of players just in an open world, kind of building things and doing their own thing. And then the idea of piloting giant ships is so exciting to me. Now, there are a couple of games out there that have been sort of arena-based that have really tried this concept, like Icarus, but this is an MMO sort of concept of that. And it's full PvP, and you're piloting giant ships, and that just sounds super cool. Now, there's actually a couple of other games that are going to be attempting to do a similar thing, either in arenas or in an MMO space coming out too, but Worlds Adrift is just like the most real to me. It's the one that's tangible, that even though I've seen just a very little of it, and I haven't even played it, I just kind of have this feeling that it's probably going to be the one that's legit. It's probably going to be the one that's actually worth anything. So, absolutely, this is going to be the one that I'm going to stay most anticipated and most hyped for. So you guys probably saw this coming, though. Hey, it's not number one or anything, but then again, the list isn't actually like properly ordered. It's a bunch of different genres, can't really rank these games. So yeah, I'm just gonna throw Star Citizen up there. You guys know why. It's Star Citizen. It is super hyped, but unlike a certain other game that just recently came out, I think it will live up to the hype because they've actually been transparent and have been vocal with their updates. So yeah, there's really not too many reasons for me to really doubt the game. I mean, of course, it's completely ambitious, but at the same time, I feel like they've been kind of realistic. I mean, separating the game into like a campaign mode, and then also with all the updates, they're really focusing on like the dogfighting and getting the physics proper in the game right now. Really, the only thing I guess I could say that maybe could be a downside is the game might require a stronger PC. It seems like they're kind of focusing on a niche audience, but then again, so did EVE Online, and EVE Online did great. So Star Citizen, being the type of game that it is, where you can play the way you want to, and you can also play in first person, the game just will feel a little bit more immersive. Maybe they'll get more players in, and that's exactly what I want in my sandbox MMOs. And next up is Lost Ark. Now, this is a game that has a lot of people feeling uneasy because it looks so good. I think not one single person can look at this game and say, that's unfun, that graphics, that's like PS2 graphics. No, dude, every single person that has looked at this game has probably said, whoa, not nice. But the problem is that it's a Korean game, and it looks like an action RPG, but it's claiming to be an MMO. So a lot of people are confused about some of the mechanics, what's really going to be incorporated in the game, and just, you know, the trend of action RPGs, and really the trend of Korean published and developed games. You know what I'm talking about? Looking at you, Arcade, Black Desert Online. So yeah, a lot of people are feeling uneasy because it's one of those games that looks too good to be true once again. And those previous examples, those could have been too good to be true games. They could have actually have existed properly without the monetization. So being, you know, a Korean action RPG, action RPGs notoriously known for grinding, Korean games notoriously known for grinding and pay to winness, really want this game to succeed, but still, maybe I should keep my hype in check. And the last game I want to talk about is actually a game that I'm just about to buy into, and I've already played it extensively in multiple betas and also the alpha, and that's Albion Online. Now, I want to talk about this game extensively because I think that it's a game that a lot of people are kind of weary about because it's a mobile game really kind of first. It's also cross-platform with PC, but I want to tell you that it really feels like a proper PC game. I mean, it's got skill shots. I play a lot of MOBAs competitively, so it still feels really good. It's a PvP-focused sandbox MMORPG. And if I had to describe it real quick, I would basically say it's RuneScape if RuneScape focused entirely on PvP. You can actually create your own islands, castles, houses. You have a lot of customization with building buildings. You can actually own different plots inside towns. And there's this big expansive world and wilderness where people are PvPing all the time. There's 5v5 competitive guild versus guild matches. There's also zerging and just running around in dungeons with open world PvP. You have to be, aware of people behind you. If they're entering the dungeon, you have to sneak out. You have to be aware of what you're carrying because, full loot PvP. It's a really fun, hardcore game that looks kind of silly and Care Bearish, but that's just because, that's the art style. That's so it works on mobile devices. And yes, it does work properly on mobile devices, but I also want to mention, it really does feel good on PC. I really like Albion Online. I've played it a lot. I'm about to go get a Founders Pack to jump into this last final beta. The game's going to come out in a couple months, and already I think it's a cool game, and the changes they're making right now, and the updates, and all the stuff that's going to be coming later on looks super exciting, so I'm completely hyped. And that's it, guys. That's my top 10 list for the most hyped games, the most anticipated games for me personally that are multiplayer. I will be doing a single-player version of this list, and also, I just want to mention that, yeah, you probably have seen some of these games in some of my previous lists, and you will continue to see some of these games emerge in new lists as I create them. And if you want to see more lists, and you want to be educated and filled in about upcoming games, and you want to see me playing them, then you're going to want to like and subscribe. I'll be making more lists, mainly focusing on new, upcoming, early access games, stuff like that. If you're into it, then hopefully, I'll see you around again next time.